How the New Orleans Saints can manage the salary cap roster concerns in the offseason. Ladies and gentlemen, the backdrop is Chris Sims and Mike Florio. Mike, Jesus Christ, get a glass of water. My guy, get some sleep. But you know how it is, ladies and gentlemen. The conversation for a while has been the Saints are in cap hell forever. The Saints are worst roster, oldest roster. They'll be bad. Mickey Loomis, Gail Benson sell the team. NFL, have an interrogation or something, or get involved, or intercede and take over the franchise because they're unable to run it. Right? That's what we've heard. Well, kind of not the case. Like we talked about, 2026, $60 million over the cap. 2027, $221 million over the cap. And 2026 and 2027, we will be one of, if not the youngest team in the NFL roster-wise. 9th overall draft pick, potentially Kellen Moore as a head coach. So where I'm sitting, which is the top of the mountain of New Orleans sports radio, where I'm sitting, things are looking bright. Things are looking like they're on the come up. So let's listen to Florio and Sims talk about this, and we'll react along the way.
Contract situation. Let me just rattle off some names here that I got in front of me, and their salary cap, right? Derek Carr, Cameron Jordan, Taysom Hill, Demario Davis, Ryan Ramczyk, Tyrann Mathieu. Those are 6 out of the 8 top players on their team in salary cap, and what they're.
Yeah, so we did a video maybe a week or two ago where we broke this whole thing down, every single contract on the roster. And this is why I keep saying 2026, 2027, because all the players that he named are, one, most of our older, aging players. 2, are highly paid players. But all of them start to naturally expire, their contracts, or I guess their careers if they decide to retire, like Ryan Ramczyk, either this year, in 2025, 2026, or 2027. Or not even 2027. It'll be before that. So all those players he just named are going to be gone. Like their contracts, you may still be moving some of the money around, but it'll be gone, and you'll be dealing with it, or it will be dealt with. And so that's where this huge boom comes from, of why we're seeing this number of $221 million in 2027, which admittedly that number won't really be $221 million. You have to sign players and have a roster, so it'll probably be closer to $100 million, but still $100 million will probably make you the team with the most salary cap, with the team with the most salary cap wiggle room.
And what they're gonna cost the football. They're all at the end of their careers too.
Yeah.
Right? So there's going to be tough decisions that have to be made there. And the quarterback situation, and I want you to explain the contract to me with Derek Carr again, because maybe I'm missing something, because he is owed a lot of dead money if they just cut him and got away with him, no? Or it would cost the team a lot of dead money. Am I not wrong about that?
Yeah, sure. But that's there regardless. Like the dead money hit is regardless. The question is the $30 million roster bonus. Derek Carr is due a guaranteed $30 million. It's crazy. Imagine getting a bonus that's $30 million. But he's due a $30 million roster bonus if he is on the team when the league season starts. Okay? So not the week 1, when the league season starts. So that's why you're going to hear a lot about this like post-June 1 designated cut. So the question isn't about the dead cap. The question is, do the Saints want to take the opportunity now to save the $30 million? You're eating the cap anyway. You're eating the money anyways. So the question is that $30 million.
Well, if you do it as a post-June 1 release,
right,
they have a slim window to do that. That's why a lot of these payments and vesting of guarantees from injury only to fully guaranteed happen just a couple of days after the start of the league year. Once the league year begins, you can activate the post-June 1 release, which means there's no acceleration above and beyond the bonus allocation that applies to this year anyway. You avoid the salary, you take the charge for the bonus allocation, and then everything that's left over hits the cap in 2026.
So the contract was built for these 2 years. So the contract is in reverse. The first couple of years of the contract, it's a very low base salary, high guaranteed money. It flips, high base salary, low guaranteed money. All right, so we've said all along, like these 2 years are the team years where the team decides what to do. Same with Alvin Kamara. Remember when we went through the contract situation with Kamara this offseason, he was entering a situation where next year Kamara was like, it was like $21 million was his base salary, which is super high, but his guaranteed money was zero, which is like it's strictly a payment structure. It's never actually going to happen. Carr's, the last 2 years of Carr's deal were built as payment structures to give the team wiggle room to get out if they wanted to.
I think that's how they would try to thread this needle. That's a way to manage the cap. And the reason that they had to do that, where you backload the deal, is because they're dealing with this constant gulf of dead money from past contracts. So, and as long as the cap keeps going up, the relative pain is reduced, because if you push cap dollars into future years and the cap keeps going up, they have less of a relative impact on your overall roster because you got.
Correct. So the strategy is, and I mean, this is like really back of the napkin type stuff here. The strategy is basically the salary cap will always go up. Okay. So if you push those bonuses and you push the money into the future, it is theoretically, I mean, this is like getting into some like economics, but the money is less valuable in the future, or it's less of a hit, however you want to phrase it, in the future, because there's more cap to work with, right? So it's a lower percentage hit of the cap, thus making it less valuable, I guess, or less of a hit to the team. And the NFL the cap is always going to go up. The NFL is always going to make money. It's never going to shrink, right? So that part is true. And the other good part of that is if you keep doing that and you can manage it, you do get to where the player just retires or the contract ends or whatever, and it kind of naturally takes care of itself. So that's kind of the strategy.
More cap space to work with. But the key with Carr is him being healthy in the middle of March. If he's not healthy, you can't cut a guy with an injury guarantee if he can't pass the physical.
This is the Daniel Jones thing. This is the Derek Carr thing. If they can't pass a physical, there's a injury guarantee. Daniel Jones, I think, was like $60-something million. So, yeah, that's very important as well.
And if the day the injury guarantee becomes a full guarantee, he's not healthy,
that's why you see teams sit players at the end of the year who they plan to be a June 1 cut, because they don't want to give them any chance of getting hurt and costing the team a ton of money. So you'll see players just randomly get benched, and that's why.
Can't cut him
to freeze them out.
The guarantee vests, and that's that. He gets $40 million. That's why from the minute that left-hand injury, well, he could miss, he could do this. Yeah, there's a tension there. The Saints want to clear him ASAP and then possibly put him in bubble wrap like the Raiders did at the end of his contract at the end of the year 2 years ago, because they wanted to be able to cut him. And their window was right after the Super Bowl. They had to make a very quick decision on cutting Derek Carr. The Saints have a little time, and the Saints have the opportunity to do that post-June 1 release. So that's how they can manage Carr. And a lot of these other names, like, they take up a lot of salary cap space. They're owed a lot of money. Yeah. We're going to have to figure out how to wave a magic wand here. But the Saints, every year it seems like, the Saints are screwed this year.
That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm trying to say.
This move, and the Saints are fine.
Yeah.
And some of those names you mentioned, it's probably time to move on anyway.
I know, but there's a lot of money and a lot, when you look at it, there's a lot of money, and it is time to move on. But they've made investments in them like it wasn't going to be time to move on. The dead money, I mean, is incredible. It's incredible. And that's just the thing I keep coming back to a little bit, is just I'm still amazed that, Mike, I mean, you and I were talking about the Saints and contract and salary cap issues when we started working together in like 2017.
Yeah, this is all part of the same window. Like, this is all part of keeping this group together. Well, the group is now not, there is no incentive in keeping the group together anymore. So now the incentive is, okay, how do you wiggle out of the contracts? We're there. So it's kind of crazy, man, because all the stuff that you hear, like the really lazy, the really like low-hanging fruit, cap hell, old roster, whatever, it's all like that. it never stays around for a long time. Like, sports are very cyclical. Sports are very, you got to kind of stay on top of everything. You can't just rely on the old school, whatever the running narrative is at the time. You have to kind of watch things and see how things are working. And right now, like, the Saints are on the downswing of this. They're on the down curve of, okay, we are about to offload all these contracts. We are about to offload all of these players. If the Saints are the oldest team in the NFL and they're getting rid of all of their old players, simultaneously getting rid of all these contracts, simultaneously getting all these players through the draft with high draft picks, that's how you set yourself up for the next upswing. And if you're doing all that with a 36-year-old head coach, I mean, things are chill. Like, things are kind of chill, and it hasn't happened yet, but we are 24 months, somewhere in there, away from looking back at this like, that wasn't too bad. Like, that downswing, that rock bottom, whatever, I would say this year and probably next year will be what I would consider rock bottom for this window, where this year, you because injuries and whatever else, and then next year you're going to see a lot of clearing out of cap, clearing out of the roster, making some tough decisions, getting younger, things like that, which will probably weaken the roster in the short term, but you'll also see, hopefully, a stabilization of the identity and the culture of the team with Kellen Moore, and you'll see, him start to kind of build what he wants to work with. You'll hopefully see some high draft picks play immediately and hopefully be impactful. And I see a lot of these comments where it's just like, I have my own theories, but I see a lot of stuff. I saw something today, and I read almost every comment. I reply to as many comments as I can. I saw a comment today that was like, the Saints will be bad for the next 6 years. And that just goes to show you, like, there's been such a narrative by, I don't want to say lazy, but there's been such a narrative by analysts or commentators that are just, Saints suck, brown paper bag, a dumpster franchise. No one wants to work here. No one wants to be here. Sell the team, all this stuff. But then when you just take a peek, you can see the light at the end of the tunnel. That doesn't guarantee success. That doesn't guarantee results. But things are happening. Like, things are operating. The wheel is churning. The wheel is moving. When I see people say we're stuck in cap hell for 6 years, and when right there on paper, you can see, like, there's $221 million of cap space in 2027. Spoiler alert, get your calculator out. That ain't 6 years from now. Okay, so at the minimum, I would say we'll probably be one of the top 5 most cap-rich teams in 2 seasons. In 2 seasons. You go through 2025, go through 2026, and then you're there. Boom. All right, you're ready to roll. So, I don't know where all this, like, 6-year, 10-year dumpster, where all that talk comes from.
And it's never,
every year.
It is every year. And I know I was wrong with my Drew Brees thing there, but they did have to pay him, for 2 years after he left, or he was still on the books 2 or 3 years after he left, to my point. So
the year he retired.
Right.
And the next year. Because his retirement was processed after June 1, it was split between 2 years, and then he's off the books. But any team with a franchise quarterback.
Yeah, but that was another thing that Breeze waited to get to a certain date to where they could split it. Like, Ryan Ramczyk, he would have retired last year, but they couldn't take the hit, so he had to play this year. Like, it's all planned out. It's all structured out.
The way they do the deal.
Right.
You're gonna have a significant dead money charge. I think the Vikings had $40 million for Kirk Cousins, $40 million, somewhere around there. The year after that guy leaves, or his last year there, the next year or the year after is what I should say, you're gonna get stuck with a significant dead money charge, and it's just the way it works. And the cap keeps going up and up and up, and teams find a way to work around it. And draft picks are the key. That's why the draft pick is the most important currency in the NFL. During the Sunday ticket trial last year, they tried to say that the salary cap and teams having, shared revenues, that's the key to competing. The key to competing is hitting on your draft picks, because it is annual, at least 7, unless you trade them away and you probably shouldn't unless you really know you're going to get a great player, because it is low-cost foundational pieces to your team that can become the nucleus of your organization going forward, and you get them for 4 years, maybe 5.
That's
right. First-round pick at a low cost.
Look at
and
the
that's
two teams
how
in the Super
that's
Bowl.
how you get around it.
Right.
Yeah, I mean that's there's 2 ways to win in the NFL is with good players on rookie deals, impact players on rookie deals, and that opens up a window, a la Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase. We've seen it a million times. Russell Wilson in Seattle, where one of your best players is on a rookie deal so you can move the money around into other players. Or you have an MVP level player who is so good that you can get lesser players around him, but he's so good he lifts up those players, a la Patrick Mahomes, where Patrick Mahomes can have Juju Smith-Schuster and Xavier Worthy and who the hell ever a receiver, and he'll be fine. You put those same players on the Giants, and they're going to be terrible, right? Like Aaron Rodgers couldn't win with Garrett Wilson and Devontae Adams. Imagine if Patrick Mahomes had Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson, right? So those are the 2 ways to win. So yeah, that is the key. The key is hit the draft picks. We've in 2026 or 2016, 2017, it's exactly what the Saints did. The Saints were drawing dead. The Saints were running out of gas. A bunch of 7-9 seasons, horrible defenses. Like Steve Spagnuolo piloted the Saints to the most points given up by a defense in NFL history. And then as quick as you could make a draft pick, the Saints are all of a sudden one of the best teams in the NFL again because they loaded up on super high impact players on super cheap deals for 4 to 5 years. It is not rocket science. That's why it is imperative. It is absolutely imperative that the Saints hit on these draft picks. And they could whiff. And if you whiff, you're cooked. You're screwed. You're going to be a bad team. But you have got to hit on these picks. So that is the most important thing moving forward is the 9th overall pick, the 2nd round pick, the 3rd round pick, the 4th round pick, projects, backup players, weak positions, things like that. Get them off your draft sheet. Safety, back up this, 3rd cornerback that, rotational tight end, like those, that ain't it. You got to get your Brock Bowers. You got to get your franchise, whatever, left guard, right tackle. You got to get an edge rusher who's going to get you 10 plus sacks. You got to get a 1-2 wide receiver who's going to be 1,000-yard guy. Like, it's time to do that. It is time to get the next Alvin Kamara, the next Mark Ingram, the next Michael Thomas, the next Marshawn Lattimore, the next whoever. Name a position. It's the next Talise Fuaga. I mean, it's time to get those players. And I personally think that's very exciting. That if all of this plays out and all these dominoes fall, and Kellen Moore's the head coach, and we've got all these new young exciting players and a whole new roster and a whole new identity, and we finally, like, I go to a bunch of, when I walk around the French Quarter, I go to obviously a bunch of little dive bars or whatever, and you always see the same pictures, right? You always see them like the same newspaper clippings or the same posters or the same pictures of teams, and it's always the same people. It's always like Drew Brees or Michael Thomas or Marshawn Lattimore or Alvin Kamara or Demario Davis or Jimmy Graham, or it's always the same players, and that's fine, but eventually there will be new newspaper clippings. Eventually there will be new pictures and new headlines and new moments and new, whatever. Those are coming. Those are going to happen. And hopefully they're soon. Hopefully they are in 2026, 2027, 2028. Like, hopefully they're only a couple years away. Who the hell knows? At 9, we could get, Mason Graham. He could be the next Aaron Donald. And next year, all of a sudden, he's Defensive Rookie of the Year, and we're rocking and rolling next year, and Moore has Rattler dealing. You never know, right? So it sounds like hopium. It sounds like copium or whatever, but I'm never going to be one of the people who come on here and just say, like, woe is me, OMFG, get the brown paper bags out. I just can't watch this anymore. I'm so sad. I can't wait until week 1. I mean, I cannot wait. I was just talking to somebody today. They're asking me about the Kellen Moore thing. I just want to see the breaking news come through. I just want to see the breaking news. Kellen Moore signs as Saints head coach, and just to see that domino fall and the next step happen. And I think I think, I mean, we're 20 minutes in, so we can go on a bit of a tangent, but I think negativity is the easiest thing to like bond people or feel like you're part of something. You know, like everyone wants to win, everyone wants to be good or whatever, but like kind of the shared like this team sucks, or this player sucks, or this coach sucks, or this front office guy sucks, like this is the boogeyman or whatever. Like that shared kind of experience can be easy to fall into that, and you know it happens a lot with content creators and videos and radio. You know, like I just laugh sometimes when I see these rant alerts or these pictures in the thumbnail with the guys like with their head in their hands, or they're like that, you know, like that with flames all over the place, and you know, and then whatever it is ends up not being a big deal. So I'm not saying that you should just be overly positive all the time. There's plenty of stuff to be critical about. The roster right now is bad. The roster right now is old. It is aging. We absolutely have to get out of these contracts. We absolutely have to get the right head coach. If it's not Kellen Moore, I'll be pissed, you know, for sure. But we'll keep it moving. You know, we absolutely have to nail these draft picks. If we draft the next Peyton Turner, yeah, I'll be pissed, and we'll be hammering the front office for the draft pick. You know, so it's not hopium copium as much as it's just like one foot in front of the other. Here's the path to winning again. Here's the path to getting back to 10 wins, 11 wins, 12 wins. Here's the path to doing it. What was it, 2 years ago, 3 years ago? The Lions won 3 games, but you can see what they're doing, right? You can figure it out. You can see like, okay, here's what the infrastructure is. So you could have looked at that last 3-win season and been like, damn, man, it sucks to be a Lions fan. Or you could have looked around and been like, well, actually, we're building something here. Like there are some pieces, there's some stuff. Like there's an identity, there's a culture. Like we're kind of turning the corner here. And somebody saying that during a 3-13 season, I promise you this, it would have been a whole lot easier to go on Lions radio or have a Lions YouTube channel and do a bunch of videos saying fire Dan Campbell. That would have got a whole lot more views and a whole lot more engagement than, actually, guys, I know we were 3-13, but I don't know, some of these draft picks are working out. We got some cap space. Maybe we'll do this. Campbell's got the right thing going here. I don't know. So keep that in mind, ladies and gentlemen. Keep that in mind.
Yeah, right. The two teams in the Super Bowl got exactly what you're saying, right, Mike?
Hi, it's Mike Florio.
All right, there you go. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. Let me know in the comments below. I'll see you in the next video.